legends, I hope you're all fantastic. It is time for another installment of Friday Q&A. As always, thank you so much to everybody who asked a question this week. And a very big thank you to this video's sponsor, Boss, and their brand new line of instrument cables, which we will talk about a little later in the video. If you want to support the channel directly, there are links in the video description to listen to the music that I make with my band Ragdoll. You can buy something like this GTA style shirt. You can join my Patreon. You can also join the Discord server and come and chat about guitars, tone, cats, coffee, and just about anything else you like. If you have a question for next week's video, feel free to put it in the comment section below. Otherwise, let's get into it. How often do I maintain my guitars and what do I do? Basically, unless something breaks on one of my guitars, like, a pickup selector stops working, or, a pickup gets a whole bunch of sweat in it and it stops working, I basically just have a very simple routine for maintaining my guitars, and that's I try to wipe them down at least once a week with one of these like lint-free rags. This is just an Ernie Ball kind of guitar polish cloth. I have some Dr. Duck's Axe Wax. This stuff is absolutely magic, and I rub that on the fretboard and on the parts to get kind of just crust and grease off my guitars when I change the strings. And I'll also apply some polish with good old Dunlop 65. So that's my incredibly high-end guitar maintenance routine. Otherwise, I just kind of play my guitars until they stop working, and then I do something about it. And that's kind of one of the ways I've developed this immense gear acquisition problem, where I have so many things. And I kind of had a moment last year where I realized I had so many guitars that just weren't working properly. So it took me a couple of months to get most of the ones that really needed some TLC in working order. But in general now, most of them you can pull off the wall, and they're probably not too unclean, and they're mostly in tune, and they mostly work. Would we consider doing a Ragdoll Back to Zero tab book? That's something I've been slowly chipping away at. I've already transcribed a few songs and I've posted them on my Patreon. I think I've posted some of them for free on the Discord server as well. But an entire tab book, that might be something that over the holiday season, which is summer for us down here in Australia, I can actually kind of put some time and effort into and get most of the album locked away. The really hard part is transcribing the solos, because a lot of them, I still kind of don't know what I played. A lot of them were off the cuff, just kind of like, hey, have a crack at it 5 or 6 times and pick the best one and go. So I think that would be the hardest part of that, is like accurately transcribing the solos. But that's probably also an investment in myself, because then I could learn how to play them properly live as well. If anybody else would like to see a Ragdoll Back to Zero tab book, or any particular songs tabbed, let me know in the comment section below. This is a question that wasn't posted on one of my Q&A videos. It just came up on a general video, but I thought it was interesting enough to warrant answering. How about some behind the scenes info or intel on being a guitar YouTuber? Like, what's my schedule like? What are some of the challenges that go into making videos? And as a lot of you probably guess, it is generally a little bit more involved than just pressing record and playing some guitar. What I found is there's certain things that I have already spent a lot of my time learning, whether it's particular styles or particular licks or particular pieces of gear. So doing videos on those is normally pretty straightforward. For example, the 5-minute licks series or the 5-minute tones videos that I do with the Axe effects. They're pretty much just, I'll think of an idea like, hey, I really enjoy playing this lick. I should talk about it a little bit in a video. So they might take, 20 minutes total to shoot, where I'll have a couple of takes with it. I'll do one whole take that maybe I'm happy with, and then I'll just kind of cut it up in post. But if I'm doing a review or a demo for a new piece of gear that's just come out, then that generally requires me actually spending, hours or days or weeks with a piece of gear to really understand how it works, reading the manuals, just trying to watch, most companies now come out with pretty informative videos on their products. So rather than just do oh, what is this thing? How does it work? I do invest quite a bit of time in actually playing the things that I review rather than just saying hey, you should buy this thing because it sounds good. Trust me, I don't really want you to trust me. I want you to trust that what I say I'm doing, I'm actually doing. But if I say something sounds good, then you get to hear it and you get to make up your own mind whether you think it sounds good as well. So I just kind of aim to be transparent with my recording chains and anything else I'm doing, and any paid promotion or any sponsored content and things like that. But otherwise, it's just me sitting around playing guitar and thinking of what do I want to hear in a video about this particular thing or this particular piece of music or this particular lick, and how can I best communicate that with people? So yeah, basically it's a lot of me going, and then we'll just plug it in and it sounds like the burst. I got to do another take, that kind of thing. So my wife has to suffer through a lot of me going in between kind of little takes and sections, which I haven't done on this video yet, although technically I think I just did. My dad still built guitars, yes, but he is nowhere near as, I guess, prolific as when he was a lot younger and I was a lot younger. Maybe that's just a perception thing, because I feel like he was kind of cranking out builds for a while there, but now I think he's kind of more of a modder and a tinkerer, and he has so many projects on outside of just guitar building, where I think he's just one of those people who likes to chip away at 100 projects and just do a little bit on everything over time rather than just kind of lean in and focus on one thing. But we should do a little kind of behind the scenes thing, and maybe I'll poke a camera in his workshop for an upcoming video. Again, let me know if that's something you're all interested in seeing and hearing. This video is sponsored by Boss and their new range of instrument cables. Boss sent me a selection of their very extensive range of instrument cables to try out, and I'm probably about half a dozen gigs into using their standard braided instrument cable in my live rig. I've been using their absolutely premium studio cable on all the videos that I've been doing in my home studio. And I said it last time, but these little pancake style jacks are just absolutely perfect for really tight pedal boards. You can get them so close together. They're so flexible and durable with their little gold plated ends and premium oxygen-free copper cable that, again, they do what you would expect something that bears the name Boss. They just work. And if you want to learn more about Boss and their range of instrument cables, you can follow the links in the video description. Just a word of warning, they don't make the best cat toys, and trust me, I did try that. Again, thank you so much to Boss for sponsoring this video. What was my first gig and what was it like? I had to think about this one. I think technically the very first gig I did that wasn't playing at my school. Does that count? If so, it was a performance for my year 11 class, and we did You Shook Me All Night Long. It was me playing guitar and my buddy playing drums, and I played guitar behind my head and did a bunch of other stuff. And when I watched the video back, I was like, that's terrible. I'm never going to do that again. And I just totally have not held my word with that. I still absolutely ham it up as much as possible on stage. So it's either that, or I did a gig playing acoustic guitar at my English teacher's wedding with the humanities, one of the other humanities teachers from my school. And that was pretty interesting because my humanities teacher played violin, so I just had to play guitar. And that was kind of stressful, playing guitar when you're 16, 17 years old. And, it's probably one of the most memorable days that somebody's going to have, and they walk down the aisle while you're kind of sitting there trying to play guitar while someone plays violin. So that one was pretty cool. And then the first full band gig I ever did was actually filling in with a cover band, and the cover band happened to have some guy called Ryan Rafferty in the band, and you know, kind of the rest is history. So I think there's actually footage of that up on Facebook somewhere. If you have me as a buddy on Facebook, you can look all the way back. I think it was like 2009, and I think I played a white Les Paul, and I was wearing white leather shoes, and I did like the whole cover gig without a shirt because, yeah, I make good decisions all the time. Can I break down the envelope fuzz stank face tone that I did with the FM9? I did an FM9 preset ideas video not too long ago, and I covered the setup for that. It's basically the ring modulator octave, and it's an envelope filter, and it's the fuzz face at stock settings. So if you go and watch that preset ideas video, I'm pretty sure I go over the ring mod and the envelope filter part of the preset, and then you just add a fuzz to it, any fuzz you like, or use a metal zone and turn everything up. That works pretty well as a fuzz as well in the FM9, and you can have a whole lot of fuzz, a whole lot of fuzz, a whole lot of fun. That was a happy accident. So the question here is, somebody loves the Soldano models on their Fractal audio device. How can they get a similar amount of joy out of models like the Friedman or some of the other high gain amps? And my advice is, if you love the way the Soldano sounds, and I love the way the Soldano sounds, it's kind of a very unique thing. I think it does its thing better than anything else. Just keep using the Soldano. You know, you don't have to use any of the other amps in there just because they're there. I know the temptation is to kind of learn particular things, but like something like a Soldano is just going to have a different character to something like a Friedman, and yeah, just use the one that sounds and feels best. That's always my advice. I think when I got the Axe FX, I was mostly using the rectifier models, then I kind of got into the Mark series models, and then I kind of got into the Atomic High model, which I still love, and for gigs, I use the Mark IV model basically all the time. So it slowly evolves over time, and I think you will, you know, when the time's right, you'll get that sound. My advice might be try recording them, like, you know, do some quad tracking where you do a double with a Soldano, and then you do another double with like a Friedman at stock settings, and have a listen to how those amps blend. That is a really nice way to kind of, I guess, learn the character of particular amp models. Or you can quad track some DIs and then just reamp all of them and have a listen to it that way. Again, for all this week's questions and comments, if you want to support the channel, like, subscribe, check the video description. I'll see you all next week, and hope you all have a fantastic weekend. You like that, mate? Yep.